Hi there guys, welcome back to the channel. Arsenal have won the FA Cup for the 14th time, come from behind to beat Chelsea 2-1. Here's our post-match review. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe to us and let us know your match day thoughts in the comments below. You join me for the preview, and he's back again for the match review. Dean Mears, Chelsea fan. Well, Dean, thanks for joining us, mate. Obviously, you must be disappointed by the result, but what are your thoughts on the game itself?
Yeah, obviously very disappointed. Obviously lose a cup final, but congratulations to Arsenal on the 14th FA Cup win. It's an incredible achievement, especially in the modern era with the amount of top clubs there are. To have that record is quite something. And to be fair, on the balance of their play, I think they probably deserved the game more than us. We can point at some decisions which we'll talk about, I'm sure, as we go on the video. They were more clinical when it was needed in front of goal, and at the end of the day, they scored 2 goals to our 1, and they're worthy victors.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. As a neutral, I thought Arsenal were the better side, especially in the second half of the first half and for the majority of the second half. So let's get right into the action. So it was Chelsea that flew out the blocks, and they scored after only 5 minutes. And Christian Pulisic, the man in form, with the goal. Got the ball in midfield, played it into Mason Mount, and he played in Giroud. Lovely flick to Pulisic, who took it past Tierney and slotted in the goal. I mean, a perfect start, obviously, for Chelsea. But it seemed to me, in that first quarter before the drinks break, that Mason Mount and Pulisic were tucking infield and trying to get in behind Xhaka and Ceballos, and that was a perfect example for that first goal.
Yeah, it was a dream start to score so early on, and having that link up between the front three and Giroud, that's why they have to tuck in to get close to him in order to get the ball. And when we played quickly and directly, it paid dividends straight away. And it really felt like it could have been a good day for us in that opening sort of 20, 25 minutes. And then we get to the drinks break and Arteta makes a switch to the formation and Chelsea can't respond. And we were probably fortunate to go in at half time at 1-1 because Arsenal were really on top of us, and they were having the possession of the ball. They was all over us when we got the ball. We couldn't get out with it at all, and I really felt like every time they were going forward, they were going to score a goal.
Yeah, it did look that way. I mean, as you say, before the drinks break, well, even before that, it's such an open game, which obviously we sort of predicted that in our preview. But for it to actually happen in a final is really refreshing, because last season we just between Man City and Watford was an absolute fraction, obviously, from Watford point of view, and the season before wasn't the greatest final either. So for it to be a nice, open, expansive game was really good to see. And Chelsea's game plan seems to be like press the ball high up the pitch and forcing Arsenal to give the ball away. And as I said, Pulisic and Mount staying inside, not stretching the play out wide, and they were getting the ball constantly. And from a Chelsea point of view, it must have been frustrating that you guys didn't double your lead.
Yeah, when you're on top in a final, you need to get the ball into the net, because the momentum of the game will change at some point. And one long ball over the top, Aubameyang is through on Azpilicueta. Interesting tactical decision by Lampard to have Zuma stepping out of that back three to follow Lacazette. Which allowed Aubameyang to match up 1-on-1 with Azpi, and he obviously destroyed him for pace and got him behind. And Azpi has to make a challenge, and gives away the penalty. And the injury to Azpi actually, I think, helps Chelsea defensively, because Christensen comes in the middle, and you've got Zuma who can match up that pace a bit better. Obviously, Aubameyang still scores the second goal, so it didn't work out too well for us. But it's an interesting little tactical battle up front there, where Lacazette was dropping deep to make that defence a two-man defence, and Arsenal were really looking good going forward against us. Yeah,
I mean, absolutely right. But obviously, that ball over the top was, that happened quite a lot. I think there must have been 3 or 4 occasions that the ball was played towards Nathan Knowles, who was playing wide left, and sort of making most of the space that Reece James and obviously Azpilicueta were leaving for Chelsea's high line. And it was just a ball over the top by Tierney, and then Aspilicueta just misjudged the ball, didn't he? Which is very, very unlike him. And then once Aubameyang's in front of you, it's very hard to catch. And it was a clear foul. I don't know what you thought, Dean, but it is more of a case, was it outside the box or inside the box? It was a clear foul.
No complaints from me on that one.
What was that, sorry?
Yeah, no complaints from me on that one.
Yeah.
Obviously, that does start outside the box, but the foul takes place inside, and I don't think many Chelsea players complained about either.
Yeah. I think they're just, as I say, just checking whether it's in the box or not. And then, Aubameyang steps up, tucks it away, 1-1. And as you say, I think for the rest of the first half, Chelsea were hanging on really. I mean, Arsenal, especially midfield, were getting more of the ball. Xhaka, Ceballos were dictating play. Aubameyang and Nicola Pepe in particular were getting a lot of touches. And it was quite, I don't know if you noticed it as well, but if anything, both centre forwards didn't really have a huge amount to contribute with the ball, like Giroud and Lacazette, but it was more the wide players. Pulisic, Mount for Chelsea, Pepe and Aubameyang for Arsenal. They're the ones who were getting more of the ball. And then there was a few, not many chances in clear-cut chances, but Arsenal had more possession, and Chelsea were just wait for the half-time whistle to go. I think the difference after the drinks break, I'm sure you noticed it as well. Arsenal were winning the second balls I mentioned about Ceballos and Xhaka, and Arsenal's front players were pressing higher up the pitch. And then, if anything, Chelsea were the ones they were looking a bit weary, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Arteta went forward at the back and pushed free into midfield, and when you've got Jorginho, who's not the most athletic despite his qualities, and Mateo Kovacic, who was already on a yellow card at that point, it made the game really difficult for us to get the ball and keep possession. And it's one of the criticisms we've had of Frank. Everyone can see that we are getting overrun in midfield. We need to make some sort of switch to counter that, and we weren't doing anything. We were hanging on for half time. We were lucky to get away with 2 or 3 good chances for Arsenal. I think they had been more clinical. It would have been a bit of a thrashing for us today.
Yeah. So get to half time, and I think from my point of view, I think this is where the final changed. Pulisic was through, took it past Rob Holding, and then just before he took his shot, which went wide, you could see on the action replay that he basically done his hamstring. You could see it in the pain on his face. But despite it, still took the shot away, which is fair play to him. But he goes off injured, hamstring injury again. And from then, I think the tide turned towards Arsenal even more so, and then at the end of the first half.
Yeah, again, I think we started the second half very well, and obviously Pulisic is such an important player for us. The way he's direct with the ball, very much Hazard-esque. I know they're different players, but that penetrating run that goes past players and out defenders is something that is very difficult to defend against. And when you lose him from your attack, and then you bring on, you brought on Pedro today, which I thought was very surprising, given he had Hudson-Odoi there.
Sorry, Dan, would you have brought Hudson-Odoi on then?
I would have given, because Hudson-Odoi obviously had that bad injury and he struggled a bit for form. And Pedro's leaving anyway. I would have said to Hudson-Odoi, here's a moment for you to make your claim to be in this team next year, because we've got Hakim Ziyech joining, Timo Werner can play wide, Pulisic is in great form. It's an opportunity for him to go out there and make his claim for the team, basically. And he's left on the bench sitting and watching Pedro come in, and I wonder what he's thinking about, given that he signed that new deal and didn't make that move that he wanted to earlier, so at the end of last season. Like I said, it changes the outlook of our attack, and we can't make them penetrating runs, and it makes it quite easy to defend against, in all honesty. When Arsenal could sit back and allow us to just have the ball outside their penalty area, because they know that we weren't going to put anything behind them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is from a Chelsea point of view as well. But even Arsenal, you could tell it was sort of a long season. Fatigue was catching up with both sets of players. It was a slower pace, tempo-wise compared to the first half. But even so, Arsenal were more in the ascendancy. Just before they scored their second goal, Arsenal had a chance. Pepe found Lacazette, who who did find Aubameyang, but his shot was well blocked by Andreas Christensen. Then 67th minute, Aubameyang makes it 2-1. From an Arsenal point of view, I think it was a really good team goal. Great run from the middle by Bellerin. And ends up with Pepe, similar to the move I just mentioned, finds Aubameyang, takes it past Zuma, left-hand side of the box, and a delightful finish over Caballero. But, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this team from Chelsea's point of view. I think, to put it kindly, it wasn't great defended by either Rudiger or Zuma.
No, I mean, from a Chelsea point of view, we're actually screaming at Rudiger just to take out. Was it Bellerin who went past him?
Yeah, just dived in, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't have it. He wasn't on a yellow card at that point. He could have just took him out and took that yellow card and let us regroup back from a free kick. He lets him go straight through him, and Christensen's unlucky. He makes a great challenge. Yeah, then again, Zuma gets sold a dummy by Aubameyang. It's a great finish. You can't take that away from going in. But yeah, another catalogue of errors for us at the back. The story of our season. And that was a real sucker punch to us going 2-1 down.
Yeah, and even more so, I think 5 minutes later when Kovacic, he gets sent off for a second yellow. I mean, he had a really good game, Kovacic, especially in that first half. Him and Jorginho were pulling the strings before Arsenal eventually got back into it. But I think we were saying before we started recording, if the ref's got to make a second yellow, it's still got to be a really strong case for a yellow. I mean, that was barely even a foul in my eyes, or even just a free kick, let alone a yellow card for it. And if anything, it looked like, was it Xhaka that apparently Kovacic fouled? Judging by the replay, it looked like Kovacic was fouled more than anything. So I think that was really harsh. I mean, they can't check it for VAR because it went straight red. So I just thought it was a very poor decision by Anthony Taylor, the ref. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, obviously, even as a Chelsea supporter, it's sometimes you hold your hands up and say, fair play, the referee got that right, but it was an absolutely horrible decision to send him off. I mean, not only does he get the ball before he makes any sort of contact with the Arsenal player, it's so weak to give a second yellow for us, especially in a cup final. As a neutral of the game, you're hoping for the referee to let the game flow a bit and allow teams to attack and make it exciting. And Anthony Taylor just didn't do that. Every time we gave away a foul, it seemed to be a yellow card, and that and the goal, took the whole competitiveness out of the game because there was actually no way back for us after that. And Taylor again in a cup final, Chelsea against Arsenal, makes a huge error, and it cost us dearly again for a second time.
Yeah, well, I think that, and obviously the Pulisic injury, I don't think helped Chelsea today. But you've said it, and I agree. I think Arsenal did deserve it today. What a great job Mikel Arteta has done since he took over. It's not even his first full season, but his first proper season in management, and to win the major trophy is a great achievement, considering where Arsenal were when he took over. But even so, this should really take away from Frank Lampard. We said in our preview it would have been a perfect season if Chelsea won today, but even so, still a really good season to finish fourth and get to a final. But as today, is that highlighted again where Chelsea are lacking, particularly defensively?
Yeah, I think in some ways it could be a blessing that he's got top four with that defence, and then we get to a final and their inadequacies show up again. For Arsenal and Arteta, the other guys on the preview was saying how positive they were under him. And what a springboard to the FA Cup could be for them. Gets them back into Europe. They've obviously got to tie down some contracts and sign some players, but it could be a fantastic start for them as well. But we mustn't, forget the season we've had, where Chelsea started from, what people predicted for us, and sort of where we are. And obviously, losing a cup final, a couple of hours after it, it stings, and it always will. But we, like I said, we have got a bright future under Lampard, and we still believe that we're, maybe not next season, but in a couple of seasons, we can be challenging City and Liverpool again. And we've got to remain focused on the positives. A big transfer window for us, changes our whole outlook of what this team can achieve.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing what Chelsea and Arsenal do next season with both managers, like a second season really. So great. Well, obviously not the result Chelsea wanted, but I thought it was a really enjoyable final. And we'll see. As I say, we'll see how both teams get on next season. So, well, Dean, thanks for joining us, mate. Especially after watching a losing final. So, appreciate your time. Thanks very much. So, thanks, guys, for watching. As I said at the start, if you are new to our channel, please subscribe to us. And if you enjoyed our review, give it a thumbs up and let us know your final thoughts. Your thoughts on the game and who your man of the match was, etc. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.